Jane Austen. The Penguin edition of the novels of Jane Austen. Chapter 1. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possessing of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However, little knowing the feeling or views of such a man may be on his first entering knighthood, this truth is so well fixed in the minds of the source understanding families that he is considered as the rightful property of same one of other of their daughters. My dear Mr. Bennet, said his lady to him one day, have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last? Mr. Bennet replied that he had not. But it is, returned she, for Mr. Long has just been here, and she told me about it. Mr. Bint made no answer. Do not you want to know who has taken it? Cried his wife impatiently. You want to tell me, and I have no objection to hearing it. This was invitation enough. Why, my dear, you must know it. Mr. Long says that Netherfield is taken by a young man of large fortune from the north of England. That he came down on Monday in chaise and four to see the piece, and was so much delighted with it that he agreed with Mr. Morris immediately that he is to take position before Myhalims, and some of his servants are to be in the house by the end of next week. What is his name? Bingley. Is she married or single? Oh, single, my dear. To be sure, a single man, large fortune, 4 or 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls. How so? How can it affect them? My dear Mr. Bennet, replied his wife, how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I am thinking of his marrying one of them. Is that his design of settling here? Design? Nonsense. How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes. I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which purpose will be still better. For as you are as handsome as any of them, Mr. Bingley might like you the best of the party. My dear, you flatter me. I currently have had my share of beauty, but I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her one beauty. In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty to think of. But, my dear, you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley when he come into the neighborhood. It is more than I ingest or I assure you. But consider your daughters. Only think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas, and determined to go, merely on that account. For in general, you know they visit no newcomers. Indeed, you must go, for it will be impossible for us to visit him. If you do not, you are over surprise surely. I dare say, Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines by you to assure him to my hearty consent to his marrying whichever he causes of the girls. Thought, thought I must throw in the good word for my little Lizzie. I decide you will do not such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I am sure she is not half so handsome as Jane, nor half so good humored as Lady. But you are always giving her the profession they have none of them must recommend them, replied he. They are all silly and ignorant like other girls. But Lizzie has something more weakness than her sister. Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such a way? You take delight in vexing me. You have no compositions on compress on my poor nerves. You mistake me, my dear. I have a high respect for you. Nervous. They are my old friends. I have heard you mention them with a consideration these 20 years, 20 years at a last. Ah, you do not know what I suffer, but I hope you will get over it and live to see many young men of 4,000 a year come into the neighborhood. It will be no use to us. If 20 such should come, sign you will not visit them. Depend upon it, my dear. Then, when are 20, I will visit them all. Mr. Bennet was so odd, mature of weak parts. Socrates' humor, reserve, and caprice that the experience of the of 3 and 20 years had been insufficient to make his wife understand his characters. Her mind was less difficult to develop. She was a woman of mean understanding, little information, and uncreative temper. When she was disconnected, she financed herself nervous. The business of her life was to get her daughters married. Its source was visiting and news.